Healthy eating. It's not as challenging or as revolutionary as you might think. This month is National Nutrition Month, the month of March, and we've got a fantastic panel of folks who are talking about National Nutrition Month and how we can eat better. Our panelists include Cassie Holig and Margaret Hewitt, both registered dietitian nutritionist here at Mile Bluff Medical Center, and Sarah Cox, who is the cafe manager as well. She'll talk a little bit about what they're doing in the cafe to help the folks here at Mile Bluff to make better eating choices. From the Mile Bluff Medical Center in Mauston, I'm Justin Riley, and this is Wisconsin Doctors. Welcome back to Wisconsin Doctors. We are here at Mile Bluff Medical Center, and today we're talking nutrition, specifically National Nutrition Month. And I'm joined by a great panel of experts, Margaret Hewitt and Cassie Holig, who are registered dietitian nutritionists here at Mile Bluff, and Sarah Cox, who is the cafe manager. Welcome.
Thank you.
And a special welcome to you, Sarah. First time being a panelist here on Wisconsin Doctors.
I'm very excited.
Good to have you with us. So, Cassie, I'm going to start with you. Talk to us a little bit about when and why National Nutrition Month was created.
Sure. So, National Nutrition Month was created by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics in 1973. And it was started out as a week-long event to promote nutrition and wellness. But by 1980, the public interest was growing so much about nutrition that they extended it to a month-long event. And it continues to be a month-long event in March every year. And so the main purpose is just to get a message out there to the public about getting healthy habits for eating and exercise. The main thing that we focus on each year changes because the theme changes every year. So this year for 2017, the theme was Put Your Best Fork Forward. So,
Best fork forward, I like it.
So the purpose of that message was just to encourage people that you don't have to overhaul your whole diet. Small changes add up one bite at a time. So, and the other part of the Nutrition Month is that it promotes the Academy and its members as the most credible and reliable source of information for nutrition that's up to date. And the Academy has over 100,000 members, and that includes dietitians and registered dietitians. And then the dietetic technicians registered, which is a new credential that they just
Dietetic technicians registered. That's
yes.
a little bit of a mouthful.
It is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's the academy is that the umbrella that kind of covers both of those professions there.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's one of our credentialing agencies.
Okay, excellent. And let's talk a little bit about the differences between someone who can call themselves a nutritionist versus a registered dietitian nutritionist, because we hear people saying sometimes, well, I'm a nutritionist, but that's different from being a registered dietitian nutritionist. Can you talk to us about the differences?
Exactly. So the main difference is the type of formal education, the depth, the scope, and the length of the training that was achieved. So anybody could call themselves a nutritionist. So our viewers at home, after watching this episode, can go home and call themselves a nutritionist. So especially in this day and age when nutrition is such a focus, there are so many enthusiasts out there, it's really important to make sure that your health is in good hands. So there's a reason why the scope of practice is different for a registered dietitian, because there is a lot of education that goes into it. Especially when we're dealing with things like chronic disease and other health conditions, what works for one person might be inappropriate or even harmful to another individual. So, if a person is considering going to a nutritionist, I would encourage them to ask what kind of education they have, if they have any certifications, who certifies them, that kind of thing. Also, just to kind of clear the confusion, in 2013, the Academy approved dietitians from going from registered dietitians to registered dietitian nutritionists.
Oh, okay, so that's a recent change.
Yep, so to help kind of clear the confusion so that the public is aware that dietitians are nutritionists as well.
So all dietitians are nutritionists, but not all nutritionists are dietitians.
Correct.
Got it. Good. I'm learning. So Margaret, let's talk a little bit about some of the education that is required for being a registered dietitian nutritionist.
Yes, so 4 years college degree is required in addition to a 900-hour internship. A comprehensive exam must be passed, and then also continuing education through a dietitian's career must be completed.
Yeah.
A dietitian also has to follow a professional code of ethics. So those are some of the main criteria to stand as a registered dietitian nutritionist.
Okay. And if somebody is interested in seeing a registered dietitian nutritionist, what are the steps? I mean, does insurance cover that at all, or how do they initiate that process?
Yes, a person can contact a hospital like ours and say they would like to speak with a dietitian. A dietitian then can send a referral to their primary care provider. Even when a person has a regular appointment with their doctor, they could ask for a referral to a dietitian, or their doctor might recommend that they see a dietitian for whatever reason: high cholesterol, weight loss, diabetes, any condition that would have to deal with their food and nutrition.
Okay, great. And I'm going to just venture a little bit off of the roadmap here and ask. I'm just kind of curious to know what sorts of things do you typically see people for? And this is for both Margaret or Cassie. What sorts of things do people come in when they want to see a dietitian nutritionist? What are they looking to accomplish?
Yes, well, I would say this: a dietitian can see any age of a person. Both Kathy and I have seen young children, from infants to toddlers or teenagers, up to adults, and even geriatric patients.
Sure.
So all sorts of age range, and I mentioned a few topics or conditions that a person might have concerns with.
Sure.
But in addition to that, it could be something like food allergies,
Okay.
celiac disease.
Just knowing what their options are in terms of, if they do have something like celiac disease, which obviously is a gluten intolerance of major proportions, they know what they can and can't eat and what foods to kind of move towards so that they can still have the nutrition that they require.
Yes,
So-
yeah. A dietitian will sit down and actually help figure out meal planning options
Okay.
in terms of recipes, cooking at home, or providing meals for themselves or when they're with family members, so that they still have an adequate diet in spite of maybe some changes needed for their health.
Sure. And food allergies and celiacs, that's something that I didn't even think about when it comes to, choosing foods that are appropriate for your health. And that, I would imagine, that is a big role that you play in the role of the patient, or the life of the patient, in terms of trying to get them to eat healthy and to get them to find foods that'll work for them and will avoid those allergies and sorts of things. So, yeah. We got to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about National Nutrition Month and specifically what Mile Bluff is doing to help out. Stay with us. Welcome back to Wisconsin Doctors. We are talking nutrition, specifically National Nutrition Month here at Mile Bluff Medical Center. And we've learned a little bit about what the role of a dietitian nutritionist, a registered dietitian nutritionist is, and a little bit about what their background is and what the requirements are, educationally speaking, in order to become a registered dietitian nutritionist. So I would like to talk a little bit about what sorts of things Mile Bluff is doing or has done to promote awareness of National Nutrition Month here in the greater Mauston area. So Cassie, can you talk about some of the things that you've done so far this month?
Sure. So the Academy provides us with a toolkit every year for the theme.
Oh, that's cool.
So some things we did this year were we submitted an article to our Mile Bluff Times, which we submit every time that the Mile Bluff Times comes out. But this year, this issue, we focused on Nutrition Month.
Sure.
Another event that Margaret actually chaired to organize was a CSA event, which is Community Supported Agriculture.
Yeah.
So we brought in a few local farmers and opened it up to the public as well as Mile Bluff employees, and we discussed the benefits of a CSA, what a CSA is, and there was also a demonstration on how to prepare, the more rare vegetables that people might not know how to cut up.
Sure.
So that was a fun event. We also had an event where we had people tasting farro, which is a whole grain, and it's a grain that a lot of people probably haven't heard of or tried. So we had a Mediterranean salad made with that out by the cafe that we had people stopping by to taste.
That's cool.
And we had a board with the nutrition benefits of it.
Yeah.
And then also the show. So this is getting the word out there about National Nutrition Month.
There we go.
Those are some of the
I think that's cool that you kind of get, I mean, you don't have to really necessarily reinvent the wheel when it comes to deciding what to do to promote whatever theme is being promoted that year. I mean, the Academy kind of helps you out with that. And I think it's cool that you're kind of educating people on the importance or how to prepare these vegetables, these more obscure vegetables, because a lot of times if you subscribe to a CSA and you get these deliveries, you'll get a whole box of stuff that you've never seen before. You don't know what it is, and it's like, okay, what do I do with this now? So,
yeah, even us, we don't know it all.
Yeah.
A lot of times I Google the video, how to cut up,
Right. So, Margaret, I've learned recently that there is a separate day set aside during the month of March for diabetes called Diabetes Alert Day. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So March 28th is considered Diabetes Alert Day.
Okay.
And this is an effort to help increase people's awareness of their potential risk for type 2 diabetes. 1 in 3 American adults have pre-diabetes, but a lot of people don't know that.
That's huge. Wow.
Yes. Type 2 diabetes we hear a lot, but pre-diabetes is an even larger number. And pre-diabetes is something where people can actually do something about it.
Sure.
I mean, whether it be through diet changes, exercise, potentially medications. If you're at risk for diabetes, you can often reverse pre-diabetes so that type 2 diabetes doesn't even start.
Pre-diabetes does not equal inevitable diabetes, in other
Correct.
words.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why it's so important to take advantage of a day like Diabetes Alert Day and do a simple 1-minute questionnaire and see if you're at risk. And if you score a number that says you may be at risk for diabetes, talk to your doctor and get further testing done and see what you can do now to prevent diabetes from starting.
That's great to know. And where can people go to take these tests?
Yes. So just to show you, this is the simple 7-question Diabetes Alert Day test.
Okay.
It's also available online where you can print it yourself or you can just take it on the computer as well. Diabetes.org/risk test or Alert Day are either websites that you could look at. The CDC is also doing a lot of promotion right now through the Diabetes Prevention Program, and there's even a few commercials on TV that you might see this similar questionnaire being asked where certain risk factors. Do you have high blood pressure? Give yourself a point.
Yeah.
Are you overweight?
Sure.
That could also be a risk factor.
Sure. Okay.
Or your activity level.
Okay, so good resources there. Sarah, you're not off the hook yet.
Oh, start it.
Sarah, you're the cafe manager here at Bluff, and talk to us a little bit about what the cafe is doing in general to help employees make better choices when it comes to their eating and their nutrition.
Yes, of course. Right now, we've been practicing making homemade soups and stuff to try to substitute the heavy creams and stuff like that and lower the sodium intake, so people really enjoy that. We also substitute the heavy dressings for like the Greek yogurt, a reduced fat mayo, olive oil, and stuff like that. We have gluten-free options available. Yep. We take the right precautions, how to do that when people have celiac disease or anything like that. So, we do that, and people really enjoy it and using more whole grains and stuff like that. So.
And I'm hearing a little bit about this stoplight system that you guys are implementing, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, of course. So right now we started this with our grab-and-go case in the cafe, and I actually have a little sample right here that actually has the choose often, the green.
Okay.
And we do try to look for different ways to get different food items into the green category.
And this is a green category.
Yep, this will be a green category, which is really nice. These are very, very popular. But we do have the choose sometimes in the yellow and the choose on occasion in the red. So it seems like since we've had them up, people have really been looking at it and taking it into consideration.
Yeah, they're more conscientious. They're more aware of it.
They are.
And I'm so glad to see that this is a green category because I love yogurt parfaits.
Yeah, vanilla yogurt
so
parfaits.
if I can eat 3 or 4 or 5 a day, that's good. Glad to hear that.
Exactly.
And this is something that you, I guess, from what I understand from talking a little bit before the show, you learned from NPR or something like that. That you heard a little bit about that from NPR, or the model was kind of taken from that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, the NPR Cafe actually utilizes the same
Got it.
system, and the criteria are based off the dietary guidelines for Americans, so
Okay.
there are criteria that are being followed. But the interesting thing that we liked about the NPR model was that they found that the colors is what got people to make healthier choices,
Versus
not
just the
necessarily the
information.
numbers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And visual is nice.
Visual is always nice, absolutely. Well, very cool. Good things that are happening here. We got to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to continue talking about National Nutrition Month. Stay with us. And welcome back to Wisconsin Doctors. We're talking nutrition here, National Nutrition Month at Mile Bluff Medical Center. And Cassie, I understand that we are going to be seeing an updated nutrition label on all of our foods sometime in the near future. How will they differ from the current nutrition facts that we've been so used to seeing for the past couple of decades?
Yeah, we are very excited. So the FDA just passed this new label that has to be complied with by July 28th of 2018.
Okay.
Retailers who have less than $10 million in sales have an extra year. So the main difference, as you'll notice, is just kind of an updated, refreshed look, first of all. But the serving size is a lot more bolder and prominent at the top.
Okay.
The calories is much larger and bolder per
Okay.
serving. They actually did away with the calories from fat because we're promoting that not all fat is considered bad anymore.
Yep.
So
Right.
it's more important the type of fat versus how much fat.
Right.
And then you can see also something we're very excited about is they now include the added sugars.
Okay.
So this is going to
Nice.
be great, and Margaret will talk a little bit about why we're so excited about that.
Yeah.
The other difference is at the bottom. So they redid the survey of Americans, and they found out that we're lacking in different nutrients now than we were when they last did the survey about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So they're still required to put the iron on here as well as the calcium, but they swapped out vitamin A and the vitamin C for vitamin D and potassium. So
Interesting.
those are the new nutrients of concern for Americans.
Okay. I didn't realize those were based on like actual surveys of
Yeah,
folks, and they updated every so often.
Yeah,
so.
every 10 years, I believe, is when
Wow.
they do the survey.
Wow, good to know. And Margaret, how do you think these labels are going to help people make better choices? I mean, obviously calories are in a bigger, bolder print. We've taken away calories from fat. We've added the added sugars component. How do you think that's going to help people?
Well, excuse me. I think just the overall look will help draw more attention.
Okay.
As Cassie mentioned, the larger size. In particular, like that added sugars is a pretty big topic, I would say, because
Yeah.
a lot of people might see sugars on the label right now, but it might be a natural sugar from milk, like lactose or fruit, fructose. But added sugars will specifically highlight if there's any kind of, honey, sweetener, sucrose.
Right.
So it's
Processed sugar, a lot of that.
yeah. So I think it will be a big help, just to help people more look at the label and be more aware of what they're eating and what's in their food.
Sure. And these are all things that we've kind of heard in the last 10 years or so. Carbs are kind of becoming the thing that people are talking about and have been for quite some time now. And like you said, fat calories, fat, not all fat is bad. And so that's something that is updated on that as well. So that'll be exciting when that finally rolls out. So.
Yeah, there is one more thing that they're updating.
Okay.
So there's something called the dual column display. So they're updating serving sizes to what people are actually eating. So
Okay.
if you think of your pint of ice cream,
Sure.
they have to list the serving as well as the full container so that consumers don't have to
Got
do that
it.
math in their head so
Right.
that they can look at it right away and see how much they're going to be consuming if they eat that whole container.
So if you want to eat the whole container, you can. You don't have to do any math to figure that out either. That's
Yeah.
cool. I've always wondered about that because oftentimes, you get the bag of little mini donuts and it's like a half a donut or something for the serving size. I'm like, who eats that, a half a donut? So the next question I have is kind of a two-pronged question. What do you think are the most common misconceptions about what it takes to truly eat healthy, and what can people do to change their diets without having to throw away everything in the fridge or the pantry?
Yeah, well, one thing both Cassie and I and any registered dietitian nutritionist would promote is that all foods can fit.
Okay.
It's not just one food or beverage that a person's drinking that is, you know, the worst part of their diet. The important thing is to know if you enjoy a food, you can include it, and just to be sensible with the portions and use moderation as a key for making good choices.
That's something that's kind of always been a talking point, is everything in moderation.
Yeah, and I agree. If you're looking to make some healthy changes, pick one thing to work on at a time. If you're looking to get your soda down, cut back by, you know, a certain amount that week, and just start small and one forkful at a time.
Right, yeah. Don't try to cut everything all at once, in other words.
Right.
So, we just have a couple minutes left, but I really want to kind of talk about this this stoplight system thing. I think that's just really fascinating. Can you hold that up for us real quick, Sarah?
Yes.
So I'm wondering if we can kind of look at that a little bit and kind of take a peek at how that all works. So obviously green is choose often, choose sometimes is yellow, and choose on occasion is red. So you have, it looks like there's 2 different rows for each one for main meal and one for snacks. Can we talk about the differences between those a little bit?
Sure. So the main meal, we included 4 main categories, so calories, saturated fat, sodium, and fiber.
Okay.
Whereas the snacks, we included a bit more analysis. So we also added the total fat, the trans fat, and then the sugar.
Okay.
So getting back to that sugar, we're looking at that. So when we analyze the recipes for the cafe, we're taking the average. So not everything in the green, everything was green.
Yeah.
There might have been some yellows in there, but when we averaged it together, overall it was a green, or overall it was a yellow.
Got it. Okay. And then do people have this chart available to look at when they are making choices, so that if they see a yellow, they can say, okay, what's actually in a yellow? Do they have that available, like on the in your cafeteria?
Yeah, right, attached right to the grab and go case. Yep.
Oh, okay,
Yep,
so
we
it's
got a
attached
couple
right
of them.
there.
Yep.
Is there a place where people can access this? Like, do you have this available online, or is there something similar available online anywhere that we know of?
There are models you can find online. We have it posted on our intranet for employees to access.
Very cool, very cool. Well, thank you so much for the conversation today. This has been very educational, and we're out of time already. But thanks for coming on today. We enjoyed talking about this, and make healthy choices, I think, is the motto of today. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for Wisconsin Doctors from all of us here at Bluff Medical Center. We invite you to live longer, live better. We'll see you next time.